All right, so get ready, because today we are diving into one of history's most captivating events, the RMS Titanic.
A story that never seems to lose its grip, does it?
No, it really doesn't. Picture this. 1912, the largest ship the world had ever seen, set sail on its very first voyage. It was billed as unsinkable, the pinnacle of technological achievement, luxury beyond your wildest dreams.
And yet, this supposed marvel of engineering met a tragic end, sinking beneath the waves after colliding with an iceberg.
And today we're going to be looking at some Wikipedia excerpts about the Titanic.
And trust me, we're going to uncover a lot more than just the basic facts. We're going to dive into the nitty-gritty of the ship's design.
The lives of the passengers, the decisions made, the chaos.
And the aftermath that rippled out, changing maritime safety forever.
For instance, did you know that the name Titanic actually comes from Greek mythology?
It does.
Or that a coal fire was burning in one of the ship's bunkers for days before it even left port?
Yeah, there are so many layers to this story, so many fascinating details, and we're going to unpack them all.
Absolutely. So let's set the stage. The Titanic was massive, the world's largest ship at that time.
An Olympic-class ocean liner, to be precise. One of 3 sister ships built by Harland and Wolff in Belfast. And they were designed for size and luxury.
Oh, yeah. We're talking a gymnasium, swimming pool, even Turkish baths, lavish cabins, exquisite dining, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly. The White Star Line, the company that owned the Titanic, they really wanted to create an experience that was just as good as any high-end hotel.
Yeah.
They weren't focused on speed. It was all about opulence.
And that opulence played right into the whole idea that the Titanic was unsinkable. I mean, the ship was built with advanced technology for the time, watertight compartments, remotely activated watertight doors.
But here's the thing. Even with all those precautions, one crucial factor was overlooked: lifeboat capacity.
Oh, right. That's one of the most haunting parts of the story, isn't it?
It is. While the Titanic did technically meet the British Port of Trade's regulations at the time, the government body that oversaw merchant shipping, well, those regulations were based on the ship's weight, not the number of people it could carry.
Wow. So even though the Titanic had 20 lifeboats, that was only enough for about half of the people on board.
Exactly.
Can you imagine the panic when it became clear that there weren't enough lifeboats for everyone?
It doesn't bear thinking about, does it? The inadequacy of those lifeboats really highlights the huge gap between the perceived safety and the reality of the situation.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about something that's not as widely known: the coal fire. This fire started in a bunker before the ship even left Southampton.
Oh yeah, this is fascinating.
It burned for days, and it took a massive effort to put it out.
And it really raises the question, did this fire weaken the Titanic's structure? Did it make the ship more vulnerable to the iceberg? Historians still debate this.
Right.
But it definitely adds another layer of complexity to the story.
It's almost like there were these hidden vulnerabilities lurking beneath the surface of this grand, unsinkable vessel.
Exactly. And then, of course, we have the night of the tragedy itself, a series of events that unfolded with this almost, a sense of inevitability.
The Titanic received iceberg warnings, but didn't fully heed them. There was a delayed response time after the iceberg was spotted. Plus, they misjudged its size.
The evacuation was chaotic, to say the least. Lifeboats being lowered in darkness, freezing conditions. Every step of the way seems to highlight the human element in this disaster.
The decisions made, or not made, in those crucial moments. Ultimately, the unsinkable Titanic broke apart and sank at 2:20 a.m. A tragic end to a journey that began with so much hope.
A tragedy that in many ways we're still grappling with today. You can imagine the sinking of the Titanic. It sent shockwaves around the world. This symbol of progress, of luxury, believed to be invincible, gone. And it really forced people to confront the harsh reality of those existing maritime safety regulations.
It's hard to grasp the sheer scale of the impact this event must have had. So how did the world respond to such an unprecedented tragedy?
Well, there were immediate calls for investigations, of course, both in the United States and the United Kingdom. They were determined to understand what went wrong, how to prevent another disaster like this.
Right, to make sure something good came out of it.
Exactly. It wasn't just about assigning blame. It was about meticulously examining every single aspect. The ship's design, the actions of the crew, the regulations themselves.
Wow.
And a major outcome of these inquiries was the establishment of the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea. SOLAS, as it's known today.
SOLAS.
Yeah, this agreement completely revolutionized maritime safety, on a global scale.
So what exactly did SOLAS change?
Well, one of the most significant changes, not surprisingly, was the requirement for ships to carry enough lifeboats for everyone on board. No more messing about with those outdated weight-based regulations.
It seems so obvious now.
Right. It also mandated regular lifeboat drills for both passengers and crew. Can you believe that before the Titanic, lifeboat drills weren't even standard practice?
Wow, that's incredible.
I know. And the changes went even further than that. They impacted the actual structure of ships. Regulations addressing hull strength, watertight compartments, communication.
So they were really trying to cover all the bases.
Yes, SOLAS required ships to have 24/7 radio operation. Think about it. On the Titanic, the closest ship that could have helped was hours away.
That's terrifying.
I know, but because of SOLAS, ships could send and receive distress signals anytime, day or night.
It sounds like SOLAS was a real game changer. This legacy of the Titanic, these safety protocols, they're still in effect today, aren't they?
They are. And what's really remarkable is that SOLAS is still evolving. It's a living document. It adapts to new technologies and addresses emerging risks.
That's really impressive.
It shows that we can learn from tragedies, even the most horrific ones, and use those lessons to build a safer world.
Absolutely. Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about something else that's always fascinated me, the discovery of the wreck itself. In 1985, a team led by Robert Ballard found the Titanic resting on the ocean floor, over 2 miles beneath the surface.
It was like a ghost from the past had suddenly reappeared.
I know, those images, they were haunting, weren't they?
Absolutely. But the discovery wasn't just about satisfying our curiosity. It actually provided valuable insights into the mechanics of the sinking.
Right. It helped to solve some long-standing mysteries.
Exactly, like confirming that the Titanic actually split in two, which had been debated for decades.
Wow.
And, the exploration didn't stop there. Subsequent expeditions have used even more advanced technology to map the wreck site in detail.
Oh, wow.
They've captured amazing footage, and they've recovered thousands of artifacts. Personal belongings, pieces of the ship.
It's incredible to think that these objects were once a part of everyday life on the Titanic, and now they offer us these tangible connections to the people who were on board.
It's true. Those artifacts tell a story that goes beyond the historical facts. They give us glimpses into the lives that were lost.
And the dreams that were shattered.
Exactly. And understandably, the recovery and display of these artifacts has sparked some ethical debate.
Right. There are a lot of different perspectives on this issue.
Yeah, some argue that the wreck site should be left undisturbed. It's a maritime memorial, a final resting place.
A sacred space, in a way.
Exactly. But others believe that the artifacts offer valuable historical insights. They can help us connect with the human side of this tragedy.
It's definitely a complex issue with no easy answers.
It is.
But it just goes to show the enduring power of the Titanic story, a story that still fascinates us, still challenges us, even after all these years.
It really is remarkable, isn't it, how the Titanic, after all this time, still has this incredible hold on our imaginations.
Yeah, it's been over a century, and people are still fascinated by it. What do you think it is about this particular story that continues to resonate with us so deeply?
Well, I think part of it is the sheer drama of it all. The contrast,
Yeah.
Extraordinary wealth and devastating loss. Cutting-edge technology up against the brutal power of nature.
Right. It's almost like a Greek tragedy playing out on the open sea.
Exactly. And I think the Titanic embodies this clash that we're always grappling with. Human ambition versus the limits of our control.
And that's something that's still relevant today.
Absolutely.
Especially in a time when technology is advancing at such a rapid pace.
Right. We think we can conquer anything.
Yeah.
But the Titanic serves as a stark reminder that, we're not invincible.
It's a humbling thought, isn't it?
It is.
But it's not just about the technology and the disaster itself. There are the human stories, the individual experiences.
Oh, absolutely.
Accounts of the band playing as the ship went down.
People making impossible choices.
Mothers putting their children on lifeboats.
Couples choosing to face their fate together.
Those stories really bring the tragedy home, don't they?
They do. They remind us that even in the darkest of times, human courage, selflessness, and love, they can shine through.
It makes you wonder, how would any of us react in a situation like that?
It does, doesn't it? It forces us to confront our own mortality.
And to consider what truly matters in life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I also think that Titanic compels us to learn from the past.
To make sure something like this never happens again.
Right. And in a way, the legacy of the Titanic, the changes that were made because of it, they serve as a testament to that.
The establishment of SOLAS, the International Ice Patrol, advancements in ship design and communication, these are all positive outcomes that emerged from such a devastating event.
Absolutely.
And it makes me think, in a way, the story of the Titanic is still unfolding.
How so?
Well, because we're still learning from it.
Oh, I see what you mean. It's not just a historical event, it's an ongoing conversation.
Exactly. It's about our relationship with technology, our responsibility for safety, the fragility of life.
I like that.
The Titanic may be at the bottom of the ocean, but its story continues to surface, prompting us to ask questions, to reassess our priorities, and to strive for a safer world.
Wilson.
And as we wrap up this deep dive into the Titanic, we want to leave you, our listener, with something to think about. What parts of this story resonated most with you? What questions are still lingering in your mind? And what will you take away from this journey into history?